print a guide to securing the bag. So when we say securing the bag, what we are talking about essentially is you overcoming any financial barriers or anything that will get in your way to secure the bag. So we have a lovely panel today, a host of different presenters that will talk a little bit about finances and how to help you get from your survival mode to your thriving mode. So we're super excited to have you. This is a 2-day event. Today, January 11th, and then tomorrow, January 12th. So we're super excited. What we're going to do now is essentially get into some introductions for the staff who have put on this event, for the staff who put this event on. So this is in partnership with SUNY, our SUNY partners from the Office of Opportunity Programs, in conjunction with the College Bound Initiative, CBI, and the Alumni Engagement Team. So what I'm gonna do now is essentially going to pass it over to the SUNY team to introduce themselves.
Thank you so much.
Right.
So my name is Mark Sanders. I'm the Strategic Recruitment Coordinator for the Office Opportunity Programs, covering about 46 campuses in regards to recruitment. And we're so excited to have you here. We have a ton of great speakers and great gems for you to record and take down for you to incorporate in this beginning of this next semester. So I'll pass it on to my colleague, Abigail.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abigail Bryant. You can call me Abby. I'm the Director of EOP Student Success, and I work with all of the EOP campuses that have EOP counselors, and I also work with EOP directors. I'm really excited to be here. Nicole, thank you so much for inviting me. I've had such a good time putting and helping to put this together. So I hope you all enjoy, and don't be surprised to see me in the chat, just chatting it up and giving you some quotables that you can put on your vision boards and on your walls. And I look forward to spending the next 2 days with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So now we're just going to pass it off to our peer leader, Cheyenne. She's going to tell you a little bit about this event.
All right. So
sorry.
hi, everyone. Oh,
sorry, my bad. Actually, we're going to do some introductions with the staff. That was my fault. I think Ms. Jones just came in the room, but we're going to start off with Gabby, just introducing yourself, your role, and your specialization.
Absolutely. My name is Gabby Lloyd. I'm a proud member of the Alumni Engagement Team. I'm one of the Alumni Engagement Managers. So if you all have heard of a little program called Bridge Through College, I oversee that with the lovely Cheyenne, who will walk you all through the purpose of this event in just a moment. And our team is so excited to continue to help out all of our CBI alum. And I will pass it to my amazing leader of the team, Pam Jones.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, I'm not on video at the moment. I am getting my background all set up, but nevertheless, I'm Pam. I'm the Director of Alumni Engagement. It is a pleasure to see you. And this is my baby girl, Ryan. She's also joining the meeting. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for joining us. We are excited about this program tonight. You're just in for a treat. Our speakers are fantastic. Our panelists are wonderful. And we want to help you secure your bag when it comes to college success, but then also what happens after that. So just, get ready to learn a lot. We're excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll also introduce myself. My name is Nicole Meyer. I am one of the Alumni Engagement Managers on the Alumni Engagement Team. I specialize in essentially our partnerships and working with different partnerships to service our students, just to make sure that they do persist throughout their post-secondary journey, as well as, seeing students through their alternative pathways. For those students who are not necessarily going to college, there are other pathways that they can explore, and I am here to support with that process, as well as working with the Alumni Engagement Team. All together, we are small and mighty, but I'm super excited to be on our team. And I'll pass it off to Cheyenne.
thank you, Nicole. Hi, everybody. I'm Cheyenne, and I'm a peer leader for Bridge Through College, and I'm also a CBI alumni.
Awesome. So Cheyenne is essentially just going to give us some event overviews, what to expect and what to look for our event today. So she'll just go through that with us.
Yes, so hi again, everybody. I'm Cheyenne, and I'm a Bridge Through College peer leader. And today I'm going to introduce you guys to our 4th annual Future Success Symposium. So the Future Success Symposium is a conference style event, and it's primarily focused on college success and persistence. And in this year's conference, we're going to provide you with tools to help you overcome any financial barriers that may impact your academic journey. And since 2007, student debt has increased by 144%, causing the vast majority of graduates to enter the working world with several years worth of debt, which is stressful and very anxiety provoking. As a high school senior and college student, it's very important to prepare yourself financially now and to prevent any obstacles that may prevent you from graduating from college. So all in all, we have a wonderful lineup of presenters and panelists that will share advice, some tips and tricks on how to be a healthy and solid financial foundation. And just some reminders. So if you stay for the whole event, you'll receive an e-gift card at the end of the event. And then we have an in-person mixer tomorrow. So there's going to be food, discussions, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. It's located at 322 8th Avenue on the 4th floor, and it's from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And the chat box is enabled for anyone. If you have any questions, feel free to enter it into the chat. And now I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Mark Sanders, who will be introducing our keynote speaker.
Thank you. So I'm really excited to introduce this next speaker. This person is somebody who I hold near and dear as a friend, as a brother, and also as a professional guidance, right? And so Asher Kennedy is a certified financial planner with a background in multi-generational financial planning. As a financial advisor at Morgan Stanley, Asher provides clients with advice, solutions to preserve and to grow their wealth. He helps clients define their most valuable goals and its aspirations, as then he tailors and implements wealth strategies designed to ensure an impactful legacy, right? Asher is born and raised in Brooklyn, stand up. Asher received a Bachelor of Science degree from Finance and Economics from the State University New York of Plattsburgh, all right, and also began his career at a private wealth management at ICO in a Goldman Sachs company. Prior to joining Morgan Stanley, Asher also spent time at MUFG Bank of Tokyo as a senior specialist in the data assurance department. Right, Asher has a passion for education. He's a philanthropist and also in the arts. Asher is a member of the Executive Leadership Council for Pencil, and is in his spare time, Asher is a contemporary art enthusiast as a member of the Museum of Modern Art and an active participant in the affiliate group, the Friends of Education. He enjoys reading, watching sports, and committed to living a life serving others. I present to you no other than my brother, Asher Kennedy.
Wow, what a long intro. Thank you. I really appreciate and love having you in my life. So that's been a blessing here. Thank you all, everybody. Thank you for having me. My bio is long-winded. It's a long-winded way of me saying I'm in charge of a lot of money for a lot of wealthy people. When I got the text, or I got the confirmation, the email about speaking to the folks here tonight, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, I can speak to you folks about college, right? And what are the things we want to talk about? I believe most of the people who are going to be attending this are high school students. Am I correct? These are all
both high school
students?
and college. Yes.
Both high school and college. Okay, so I want to take a step back into time here and tell my story. As Mark mentioned, I am born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville section of Brooklyn, New York, and many of my friends did not. They didn't go to college, and upon going to college, there was this path where you came to the fork in the road, and you either went to college or you got a job. And the thought here was that nobody wanted to keep learning. It's so funny because today we all use social media and we don't know it, but we're learning. We're learning about somebody's life. Oh, did you know YSL is not messing with Gunna or whoever? And you're just learning all the time here. But what the folks who came before me did not recognize is that I needed college, or we needed college for a couple of reasons. A, I needed to leave where I was from because there was a world much larger than the community that I knew, right? I went to school in my neighborhood, and I went to high school 20, 15 minutes away from where I grew up. I needed to see that there was a world much larger than that. By going 5 hours north, upstate New York to Plattsburgh, I saw that there was a different lifestyle and met many different people. And there's value in that. Following that, I'd say that by going to college, not only do you A, meet new people, B, and probably more important, you increase your probability to earn. Your earning potential increases dramatically. I don't have the stats with me right now, but if you look at the salaries for those people who went to college and those who did not, on average, it's going to be higher. Now, there was a point made, I think, Nicole, I think you said it, where you said you don't have to go to college if there's something else you want to do. I'm okay with that, because most people will be snob and say, well, it's college, I went to Harvard and I went to Columbia and I did all this. Boo. You don't have to do all of that. You can pursue something else outside of that, called a trade. Those people don't have that. They make a ton of money. You ever heard about the welder making $80,000 with no debt, right? So there are things outside of college that you can do post high school, but the biggest thing there is that you need some post high school education. And after you finish high school, everybody thinks, oh, I finished the 12th grade, I'm done. You're lying to yourself. You will continue to learn. Even if you don't have to do it in a formalized setting like a college campus, you'll do it with a trade, or you'll just start to pick up a book on your own and start to read. In my bio, Mark mentioned I'm a big reader. Growing up, I hated reading. I hated reading. Like my father said, pick up a book and read. I said, I hate reading. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, I got my friends and they're telling me things I already know about other people who I know, and I know that they don't like them, but like I can learn a thing or two by just reading this book, and I've become a massive bookworm. When it was time for me to go to college, now I want to give you guys a background, you folks a background here. I'm the second child of 4 children in my family. My older brother, when it was time for him to go to college, he says, Mom, Dad, I'm not going because you didn't put aside any money for me. And I was like, oh man, like I got to take out debt. And that was the wrong way for him to look at it, and that was the wrong way for me to look at it for the following reasons. Yeah, I had to take out some student loans, but it wasn't a loan because it wasn't debt because it was bad. It was an investment in my future. By taking out that small loan, I was able to go to SUNY Plattsburgh. I was able to meet new people. I was able to gain new tools, resources, skill sets that have made me a professional. I sit here today and tell you I had no idea over a decade ago I'd be a financial director at Morgan Stanley on Park Avenue. What? Not heard of, right? By meeting new people, by opening myself up and allowing myself to be open to the idea of more, right? There are podcasts now that talk to you about that, like Earn Your Leisure, but you have to be open to the idea of more. And when people say, well, college is expensive, let's talk about the different types of college. You have community college, you can go to school part-time and pay for college, or you can get that student loan that's appropriate and reasonable, right? Nobody's telling you to go out there and take on $700,000 worth of debt. But if you go to school in-state like a SUNY, like a CUNY, I have friends who went to CUNYs that came out with no student loans. I'm like, you're making good money with no student loans? Yeah. I was going to go to a CUNY until I decided I need to leave my neighborhood, and I went to SUNY. It is literally one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I still have my friends from high school. I still have my friends from my neighborhood, but now I met more people. I met new people. I met folks like Mark Sanders, right? And it just opened me up to so many different things. In fact, part of going to college allows you to meet new type of people who can put you in positions to win. Your net worth is correlated to your net worth. And you might hear people say that over and over again, but I'm going to show you exactly how that works. I work at Morgan Stanley today because I met a young lady from an affiliation I have that I made in college. So literally, I can draw the line to where I am today based off of who I met during my time at college, that had I not gone to college, I would have not made those connections. You have to connect. When you look across or next to you in the room, you should be able to see somebody who looks like you, who you network with, who will still put you in positions to win, right? I had friends who I went to college with who didn't look like me at all, but I can call them friends to this day. I have a friend who lives in different countries, Malaysia, Trinidad, London, right? You meet different type of people, you grow. But back to the financing of college. When people look at student loans, they think, oh, it's gonna cost me an arm and a leg. No, because there's assistance. There are things like EOP, TAP, Pell Grants. When Joe Biden came out and said, if you got a Pell Grant, we're going to forgive an additional $10,000. I had our group chats of mine was just lighting up like, I got a Pell, I had a Pell, I had a Pell, right? There's government assistance at the federal level, but then there's also government assistance at the state level. Knowing what I know now, I would have done so much more. Like, wait a minute, they can give me this? I didn't know because, again, many of the folks who came before me didn't know those things here, right? You have the government, you have federal help, you have TAP, Pell, you still have scholarships, right? Most people think you have to be super smart to get a scholarship going into college. Nope. You can get a scholarship if you're left-handed. I'm not a lefty, I'm a righty. You can get a scholarship for being ambidextrous. You can get a scholarship for many different things. When I was going to college, when I was in high school trying to prepare for college, I had an aunt tell me, well, you go to church, the church are giving out scholarships, see what you can get from there. You just have to be open to the idea of more. I think there's actually on a website, scholarship.com. I'm not sure how well that is today, but I know that was a thing back in the day. What else? Outside of the student loans, right? And again, when you hear that word loan, if I told you you can take out money and you're going to buy shoes and clothes, whatever, then that's not a good use of a loan. But if you took out that loan and you invested in yourself, I guarantee you it's going to pay. I shouldn't say that, but when you take out a loan and invest in yourself, odds are it's going to pay off. I took out a loan and I was nervous at first. I said, well, I'm taking out this loan. How am I ever going to pay for this? And I just said, you know what? It's going to work out because I see certain things. The homeless people who have who've experienced misfortune, they've always said, I wish I would have went to school. I've always listened to that, and I always heard that very successful people said, I went to school. I was like, well, if the super successful woman and lady and man is telling me this, and this man who does not have a place to live is saying the same thing, so okay, so I don't know what I need to do in school, but I got to go to school. I need to do more in life. That's important. And then if I go back to the financing itself, most of the time we think, oh, we're going to be strapped with this debt, or it's going to cost me XYZ per year. It doesn't have to cost you all of that. There are different things that you can do to reduce the cost of education, such as become an RA. I know Mark was an RA and I myself was an RA. That literally took off my room and board and meal. Like literally cut my college bill in half. Literally cut my college bill in half. And I told other people do the same thing. They did the same thing and said, yeah, cut my bill in half. Right? There are things that you can get scholarships once you're on campus. And when they say it's the cost of tuition or the cost of attendance, that's just a larger number, assuming you need certain things. You might not need all of that, right? What you want to do is you want to step foot on that campus knowing that you belong as well, right? Because a lot of times we suffer from imposter syndrome. I know when I first got to college, I was like, I don't know if I'll survive. I didn't know I kind of wanted to go back home. I was like, this is just a completely different place now for me. When I look back now over a decade, like how could I not have stayed? It was the most beautiful time of my life. And it showed me a lot. And I think more than the education that I got, I really enjoyed my major. And I really enjoyed what I learned. My biggest love for college was the people I met, right? You're going to meet new people and you're going to have this experience where it's like, well, I didn't know this person could teach me this. Or I met new friends who will be with me for life, friends who are going to be at my wedding, friends who, you could meet the love of your life. You just don't know who you're going to meet there. And with college here, you got to get there and look at student loans, not as a loan, as a burden. Look at it as an investment in your future. Because one of the biggest things, or one of the hardest things my first semester in college, I was working at Old Navy in high school. And I was like, my friends, they're working at Finish Line right now and they're making good hours. And man, I'm a broke college kid and I don't have any money. This is not fair. I could be getting fits off. And I said, you know what? I'm going to play the long game. I don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish, right? Write that one down. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Because sure, they were making more money than me that semester, maybe even that year, maybe even my entire college career. But what happened after I graduated immediately made way more than that, right? And that's not me trying to say, oh, college is going to come with all of this success. but you have to put yourself in a position to earn that success, right? You have to meet new people. You have to keep people with you and take them up the ladder with you, right? Lift as you climb. Lift as you climb, right? One of the things that pushed me to going to college was a nonprofit I was a part of called Pencil. When I was a junior and senior in high school, they took me to a place in Midtown Manhattan. I'd never been in Midtown Manhattan. I've never been in a building on the 50th floor, right? Every time, if you ever been to Manhattan, if you are lucky enough to go to Manhattan, I always look up like, whoa, these are really tall buildings. I saw myself on the 50th floor and I looked down and I said, I want this view. I can now say many years later, I have that view. You guys can't see it, but in the back of my office here, there are tall buildings. I'm on the 20-something floor, right? These things they're not possible, they're probable, right? They're not possible, they're probable. They're within your favor. You just have to earn it. And most people say, oh, I don't want to do all of that. I don't want to do all of that. What do you mean? You got nothing better to do. It's actually harder for me to sit down there and not do my work when I was in college. Like, I'm just gonna do the work, like professor assigned things. Okay, I'll just do it. Right? What got you there, what got you here won't get you there. I just did my work. And again, I look back, college was some of the best times in my life. And I mean that. Everybody, all your high school teachers like, oh, your professors won't accept this. Your professors will understand that you're human and you'll do a good job. But more than anything, I'll tell you, like, you're going to grow as an individual and you should look forward to that growth. There are going to be good times, bad times, but it's all growing times. And you're going to be really happy about it. You're going to look at this and you'll say, wait, you've got to go to Walmart at 2 o'clock in the morning for like lotion because, Mark doesn't have any or whatever. Like, there's just so many fun memories that you miss out on when you don't go to college. And again, I've been focused on this conversation for college, but I also want to speak about the trades because I do understand that for some folks that is a reality. You cannot afford to take out a loan. Your family's not comfortable with the idea. You're not comfortable with the idea. That's okay. Trades have value. I don't know about you guys, but water isn't going anywhere. We need plumbers. We need welders, right? We need welders. People think, oh, he works a trade. Nope, there's nothing wrong with a trade. You didn't go pursue an education because you didn't want to work in a fancy office. That's okay. That doesn't mean that you don't add anything to society. But by pursuing something post-high school, you add to society, you add to yourself. And there's a lot of that because when you add to yourself, your self-dignity goes up. And you would want that for yourself. You wake up in the morning and I have a job. I've got to go help this person unclog their drains. Why? Because if their drains are clogged, they can't cook food for their family. Right? There's value in them. The world's going to need folks like that. You don't want to be a plumber? Fine, don't be a plumber. Be a welder. Right? I don't know about you, but buildings are always going to go up. There's tons of things that you can do to add value to the world, but more importantly to yourself. Right? But what you don't want to do is you don't want to be penny wise and pound foolish. Because again, I was there working at Old Navy in Kings Plaza. For those of you who are in Brooklyn, I worked at Old Navy my senior year of high school, and I was like, man, I'm making $8 an hour, yay! Right? I had friends who were working at Chuck E. Cheese. I had friends who were working at Target. I had friends who were making really, really good part-time retail money, and it felt good, but they were limited by what was in front of them. It's like the old carrot and the stick. You see the carrot in front of you, but then you get hit with the stick. Well, by staying at that one job, not allowing yourself to be in a position to grow, you're chasing a carrot and you're being hit with a stick and you don't even realize it, right? So invest in yourself by either pursuing a trade or pursuing higher education, right? Whether it be an associate's, bachelor's, if you decide to, then a master's. If you really decide to, then a doctorate. That was just too much for me. But my point here is that don't limit yourself, right? Because again, for a little black boy from Brownsville, Brooklyn, New York, I'm in meetings with the people I'm in meetings with, and I'm in charge of the money for the people who you watch on TV. And I would have never thought that would have happened in my life, but here I am. Invest in yourself. Pursue something beyond high school. Pursue more beyond high school. Want more for yourself. And I don't know if there's anything else you guys want me to speak about, but that's really really what I can speak to. Investing in yourself. You owe it to yourself. Be kinder to yourself. Be kinder to who you're going to be 10 years from now. They're going to look back. The you in 10 years, are they going to look back and say, I wasted my life? Or they're going to say, all right, it was hard, but I got through it, right? You 10 years from now should be happy with the decisions that you make today, right? Okay, it's not going to be fun, but it got me somewhere. Because you don't want to look back 10 years with no job or no education, no job, no nothing. You don't want that for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Asher. You dropped a lot of gems today, and I really, yes, give it up for Mr. Asher Kennedy. Dropped a lot of gems, especially don't be penny wise and pound foolish. That is definitely one that I will take with me. But thank you so much for giving this keynote and, sharing your experience with our students. I think they will take a lot from this, especially, going to college and making sure to take advantage of the resources that are on campus. Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of times that goes amiss. So thank you so much for giving us all those gems today. Once again, guys, this will be recorded, so don't think you'll miss anything. You'll have all this information. So thank you so, so much. We would love for you to stick around just in case students have questions for you. And if you can't, that is okay. But yes, we do have our...
If there's any questions, could somebody ask me one or two right now before I get out of here? Because I don't want the students to feel like he was just a figurehead and he didn't really have time for me. I know you have a schedule, I'm sorry, but...
No, it's okay. Totally okay.
I want to be there for the students as best as I can. If there's any questions right now, please ask me.
Let's see if we get some questions that come in.
And by the way, folks, I can't see the chat because I'm still at work, as you can see, and they have disabled the chat feature on my Zoom. You got to be safe, so just let me know if there's any questions. If not, I will sign off.
Okay, so we got one question. Now,
okay.
All right, so the question was, what role did networking play in your professional experience?
Did you guys see this? No, that's not going to be good. Okay, so I'll tell you what it is, right? So I was a random freshman, or I was a random student on campus, and I joined a fraternity with Mark. And I joined that fraternity, and it introduced me to a network of people. One of the young ladies I met in that network, I tried to get her job where I was working, and it didn't work out, but she always recognized and appreciated the fact that I tried to do something for her. But then she worked somewhere else, and then she got me a job. Okay, leaving the job that I'm at now to job that I'm at today, or at least entering this. By me knowing her, I got this job, and then by me being in this job, I've done a good job, and I've got promotion after promotion. So literally, I don't meet her if I don't meet Mark, and I don't meet Mark if I don't go to college, and I don't go to college, then I'm still working at Old Navy in Kings Plaza telling you that the $1 flip-flop sales is happening on May 24th for whatever year it is, right? So literally, I can show you how the network operates. If that's not enough, my first job that I tried to get that young lady at, I met her because I was on campus as a member of the economics club, which I was dragged into by a friend of mine on campus, which I would have never met if I wasn't on campus, which I would have never been on if I would have never went to college. What else?
Okay, we can take one more question so that we can introduce our next
Sorry,
panel.
next speaker. I didn't mean to do this, but
You're gonna have to Joshua, or I guess I'll ask, how did you get your first professional internship? The student said that they're personally having a really hard time finding one, so any advice would help.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So you ready for it? My first professional internship came my senior year of college. During college, I was like, I can't get an internship. I didn't know what to do. I worked retail on Fifth Avenue at Tommy Hilfiger, just folding clothes. And I was like, okay, so I'm just going to graduate with no job. I've got to, maybe I'll find something with this degree. I've got to continue to network. But what happened here is that because I was so involved and active in my community on college, in the college campus, I went out and I asked the lady, said, you know, is there anything that we can do? And she says, well, there could be something. I asked her like my sophomore and junior year. She said, this is going to come for your senior. I said, okay, well, keep me in mind. I want that internship. And it wasn't anything magic or fancy. I didn't work at any large company. I just had an internship at a small stockbroker's office in Plattsburgh. But again, that did not come until the senior year. But remember, folks, as you continue to grow, you might have the idea that today you have to summarize your resume. No, no, no. And you have to summarize your experience. No, no, no. I want you to take your experience, articulate it in a coherent fashion on your resume, but more importantly, I want you to sell your experience. I didn't tell anybody, only had an internship for 6 months or whatever it was. You know, I was the intern for this, doing this, and the third, and these were the results. Did not have an internship my freshman and sophomore year, but I would strongly recommend, if you can do so, get it earlier. You don't want to be like me, sweating your junior year in college, excuse me. But I did not have one until my college year, and I actually think it was like the second semester of my college year, so not very fun.
I still want to sneak this question in from Joshua. I'm sorry, Nicole, we have to ask. But Asher, you have to promise you're going to stick to one word or one skill. So the question was, one characteristic / skill that has resonated or stuck with you from the start of your career until today. So one characteristic or skill.
Humility, hardworking, and transparency and integrity.
Say that again. Say that again.
Humility, hard work, transparency, and integrity. People want to work with you if they like you, and if they don't trust you, they can't like you. And if you're not humble, then they won't want to put you on. And if you don't work hard, you don't get to play hard.
Thank you for your time, Asher. We appreciate it.
Thank you all. I really wish I could have stayed here, but I have to go. So thank you all. It was a pleasure. Take care.
Thank you so much, Asher. We appreciate you. And now I'm just going to pass it off to Abigail, who is going to introduce our next panelist.
Awesome. Thank you. Hey, everyone. Excited that was like an energizer for me. It just gave me so much that, you know, just that mindset of like being kind to yourself. Even as professionals, we have to remind ourselves to be kind to ourselves. And I think that's just phenomenal. So the next speaker, which I think is going to also take this out of the park, is Sydney. Sydney knew her career path ever since she was a young girl, inspired by the impact her father had on his clients and community in the financial planning industry. She started her journey as a financial representative intern in 2019 and later became the youngest female certified financial planner practitioner in the country. Sydney understands that financial planning must be centered around each person's unique goals and circumstances. Not only does she help her clients by managing and building upon their current realities and needs, she also allows them to see their greatest visions fulfilled by effectively planning for the future. Sydney, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see you all.
Nice to see you. So we decided that this presentation will just, you know, that beautiful introduction, your background. I just want to have a conversation. Like, I want to have dialogue. I want us to be able to really dig a little deeper about your experience and the work that you're doing. So I guess the first question that we must ask any financial person is for you to fill in the blank. Money is?
For me, money is time, money is options, and money is freedom.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And then the next fill in the blank is financial freedom is?
So financial freedom, this can be defined in so many different ways. I would say for me in my own life, and I see this a lot with clients, financial freedom, being financially free, is the ability to have autonomy over your life and your decisions and to do whatever it is that you want to do and not have to worry about the financial tail end of every single decision you're making.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that Asha brought up earlier in particular was talking about the investment in education and the student loans, and how some students may be able to brush off that fear of investing so much money and taking out so many loans to go to college, while others may not see it as best for them. Can you talk a little bit more about like how you coach your clients to recognize that what's best for them is for them? Because I think so often our students get pulled into all of these different directions and they're afraid. And how do you coach people out of that fear?
Yeah, so great question. The first thing that I am doing in any client relationship, or even just in life, if I'm helping somebody through, thinking through some things financially, is we're talking about their deepest desires. Like, what do you actually want? And, it's hard because society has so many things to say about what we're all supposed to be doing that it's like a dusty mirror. It's almost hard to figure out like what's the dust and what's you, So I would encourage anyone on this call that's going through in their head, like, do I want that higher education? Do I want to go to trade school? Do I want any of it? To, first of all, get a mentor that you can talk to about their experience going down each of the different routes that you're thinking about. Maybe get 2 mentors, people that you can just talk to and really be your authentic self when you go to them. And then you need to actually get quiet with yourself. I know this is not financial, but like for me, when I have to make large decisions, I meditate on it. I sit and I'm quiet and I just let myself listen to what it is that I actually want and really be honest. Is this what I want, or is this what someone else is telling me to do? In terms of the financial aspect of taking out loans for education, what we need to make a good distinction between is good debt versus bad debt. Good debt is debt that's an investment in yourself, whether that is an investment in real estate, or in this case, an investment in education that's going to get you a salary and job security. And going back to this concept of financial freedom, autonomy later on in your life, to have more options, more freedom, more time. So good debt versus bad debt. Good debt would be student loan debt that got you a really good job that you feel really good about. Bad debt is consumer debt. Like if you went out and bought a Ferrari on a credit card, not good. I
didn't know you could do that.
Don't get any ideas. So if it really is, number one is, what is your deepest desire? What do you actually want when we take the dust off the mirror? And then on top of that, if it's really the idea of the debt that's holding you back, really ground yourself in that distinction between good debt and bad debt. While it is debt, it is an investment in your financial future.
Awesome. So one of the things in your bio talked a little bit about the inspiration that your parent had in your life to go into this field. What is something that you learned about money as a child, and how did that inform your approach to money management later in life?
Yeah, so great question. So growing up, as you heard in my bio, my father was in the financial services industry. He still is. We actually work together, which is lots of fun. But he was a certified financial planner his whole life while I was growing up. And a couple things that I learned from this. Number one, I saw how hard he worked to have the career that he had. And the lesson that I got from that is that money and success comes to people that have discipline and focus and work hard for it. It's not something that's going to be handed to you on a silver platter. And you know what? That could sound really harsh, like, oh God, I gotta, do all this stuff and slave over myself to be able to, have success and have money. But truthfully, if you're doing something that you really care about, it doesn't feel so much like you are, really, down in the dumps and working hard. So like for me, growing my practice, I really care about my work. So my success in building financial security for myself, not that it came easy, but the fact that I'm doing something that I really love made it easier. I would also say growing up, watching my father with his clients and seeing firsthand the impact that having financial education and doing intentional planning has on your life and your ability to make the decisions that you want to make is huge. I mean, I saw my father's clients getting married, buying homes, raising families, being able to take nice vacations, being able to retire. All these things that we dream of doing down the road, they take planning. And the sooner that you can get a grip on financial education and money management, the better off you're going to be and the easier things are going to get later on in life.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that resonated with me when you were going through some of the answers to this question is the word that kept coming up was alignment, right? So you talked about how, center yourself, get real with yourself, spend some time thinking about what you really want. And then on the flip side of that is really identifying what you're willing to sacrifice, what you're willing to do to get there. And it's all about, and making sure you're connected to something that will make you happy in life. So it's kind of like this, like you need to be aligned in a lot of ways, and your desires and your passions need to align with the hard work and the dedication that you're putting in. And I think that was the word that kept ringing in my head. Like, we're talking about alignment. How do you stay in line with what you're hoping to do?
And it's so funny, that cliche of like, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. There is some truth to that,
Oh, it's real. It's real.
I work very hard, like, not to toot my own horn, but I'm like a very hardworking, disciplined person, but I love what I do, So for the young people here, like, if you can really just find something that you feel good and passionate about, and for me, a lot of that is contribution. Like, being able to get up every day and give to people is a dream come true. And to be able to help people build financial security while I get to build my own financial security is a dream come true. So finding something that you feel that passionate about and being able to run with that, that's the key.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Asher kind of brought this up a little bit about networking and using your mentors and the people around you to help you move to the next level with this. And I kind of see how that can also play a role in financial empowerment in the way that you're talking. So as you start to learn more about money and management, it can all get extremely overwhelming for young adults, right? If we have some high school students in here, we have some adult learners in here, we have some students in the middle age of just being in college, just starting their freshman year. What are some resources that can help students break down that fear, but also that feeling of being way too overwhelmed with too many things that they have to focus on?
Right. Yeah. So I like to think of financial planning and like getting on the road to good financial health, like building a house. And the reason why I say that is when you look at a really nice house, you don't look at it and say, ooh, look at that nice foundation, right? You're not looking at the concrete slab. However, it's that concrete slab that keeps the house standing when the wind blows or a storm comes. It's the same idea when it comes to your financial planning. So while you can go online and get totally overwhelmed by all different financial strategy and accounts and investments, and like all these different things that you can do with your money, I would encourage everybody that is here that's really at the start of their financial journey to focus on the concrete slab, focus on building that foundation. And what I would say from my experience and my education as a CFP is that foundation is made up of emergency savings. So having money in the bank that if heaven forbid something happens to your health, you get laid off, you have emergency expenses, your car needs a repair, whatever it is, that you have money in the bank. And then also that you have a handle on debts. So making sure any high interest rate debts are paid off, that we're building credit. So like these little things that are like, you would think almost are like, oh, that's too basic. It starts with that. It starts with emergency savings, building your credit, making sure you don't have high interest rate debt, really these foundational things. There are so many good books and podcasts and stuff like that out there. The only thing that I will share when it comes to learning about this stuff online, again, it's very easy to get overwhelmed because there's so much out there. And my problem with learning about this stuff on the internet or podcasts or books is that it's all generalized. So you might read something or hear something and it might be really good advice for somebody that's not you, and it might in your situation not make any sense. So while I love podcasts and reading and the internet to learn about like basic financial concepts. I would recommend talking to a financial professional and specifically talking to what's called a fiduciary. And if you guys aren't familiar with what that means and what that really scary word is, a fiduciary is somebody that's legally obligated to act in your best interest. So for me as a CFP, I'm a fiduciary. So like I legally have to do what's in my client's best interest. So just make sure down the road, when you do get to a place where you're like, you know what, I think it could make sense to talk to an actual financial professional about what I should be doing with planning and what I should be focused on, just make sure you're talking to a fiduciary.
I had to put that in the chat because I didn't know how to spell it, but I knew how it sounded.
Right there,
and
yes.
I found it.
Yeah, and if you're ever
Fiduciary.
talking to someone, like, don't be afraid to ask them, are you a fiduciary? And if they're not, it's not to say that they're a bad person, but just know they're not legally obligated to recommend things to you that are in your best interest.
Awesome. And I think that was one of the questions from Mina Hell on the chat about where do you start? A fiduciary. That's where you start.
Yeah, because when you talk to an actual person, they're able to take a look at your goals, your life, your circumstances, and actually tell you what's going to be relevant for you, you know, because every client that I meet with, they have different needs, right? You heard it in my bio. Everything is totally personalized. So I might tell Nicole to do one thing with her money where I'm telling Abigail to do something completely different because they're different people with different lives and goals and circumstances. So the internet's great, but don't overuse it.
Yes. So there's another question in the chat and I'm checking time and I know Gabby's going to tell me in a second when I'm over. But I'm late to everything. So I guess it doesn't matter much.
Yeah.
General question for the group. Does it cost money to see a financial planner?
Great question. So here's where we get into this conversation around fee-based financial planning versus non-fee-based financial planning. Our firm actually does both. Most places you go, they're going to charge you a planning fee or some sort of hourly rate. For me, when I'm working with people that are just at the start of their financial journey and there's nothing too crazy complex going on, I'm not doing fee-based planning. So there are financial professionals that you can meet with and you actually won't pay them $1 for any of their time or planning.
Thank you. And
Yep.
Gabby, do I have space for one more question?
Absolutely, go for it.
Okay, so my other question, or maybe my last question is, where did you go to school? What did you major in? And who was your major support system?
Awesome. So I went to Muhlenberg College in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is where I met Sade, who I believe you guys work with, who's wonderful. I majored in business because I just knew that this was going to be my career path. And I really loved getting my business degree. I learned a lot of things about corporate finance. I learned a lot of things about, you know, how financial accounting works and stuff like that. The one thing that my business degree did not teach me that I learned later on getting designations was personal finance. So that's something, and that's a whole other can of worms that we're not going to get into tonight about the lack of education on financial planning, even as a business major, no financial education. So that is something that you kind of do have to look for elsewhere. The last question was my support system. So my support system, I'm so thankful to say, was my family, because I really do have a wonderful family support system. But, you know, I know a lot of people that are not as close with their family. Not everyone is blessed with, you know, family that understands them and their values and their wants in life. So with that, find your people that are not in your family, you know, through clubs, organizations, things of that such.
Find your people. And I guess I wanted to piggyback or kind of go back a little bit about you choosing your major in business and realizing that it's not going to teach you personal finance. Did you always know the path to the certifications and degrees that you have now? Or did you kind of discover it along the way that you'll be in school for a little bit longer and you have this kind of education that you now need to complete? Was it always clear or did it kind of come together?
It was a lot of piecing things together from talking to different people. Because, and I think that it's not only with my profession, it's a lot of different professions that there's many different ways to get to your end destination. So I ended up taking lots of different advice from different people around how they did their licensing, how they did their certification. And I ended up just taking all that information and then making it my own. I actually ended up getting my certification, being board certified, much earlier than I thought. And I did that quite honestly because it helps me have more trust with clients, even being young. So for me, I'm still in my 20s, but people trust me because they know that I've put in the time that it takes to get board certified. And I have that knowledge.
Awesome. So I'm going to tell everyone, if you have one more question, just put it in the chat. Before I let you go, Sydney, I do have to ask. Yeah. What is one mistake that you may have made in your journey towards financial freedom or your money habits that you had to kind of shut down, that students need to be aware of? Because I think one of the things that we heard a lot between Asher and you is about making the right decisions at the right time. But I would love to hear about a mistake that you maybe made along the way, that you learned from.
Yeah, so again, I was blessed to have such a great financial education growing up from having family in this industry. And, I really did have a good head on my shoulders when it came to finance from a young age. I mean, I was scooping ice cream at like 14 years old before it was legal to have a job in my state. So I really grew up with that work ethic and that good financial education. The one thing I do wish that I did more of early on was save, because I think that you get your first job and you're like, all of a sudden you have money and you're like, oh, I can go spend this. And I definitely did my fair share of that, specifically in high school. I mean, I was making a few $100s a week, scooping ice cream, waiting tables, and I just spent it all, because I was like, oh, I don't actually have a family now or a mortgage now. I don't have bills right now. I don't really need to save. But the truth is, saving is something you don't do for today's you do it for future you. So I would recommend, if I could go back and tell my, ice cream scooping self years ago, save at least 20% of what you earn. For every dollar you make, 20 cents should be going into a high yield savings account to build an emergency fund for the future.
I would say I was 15 when I started working, and I did like the summer youth thing. And I swore to my mom when she signed a paper that like, I'm going to save this money and I'm going to use it to pay my college tuition. That did not happen. And I've been working from 15, 16, 17. I was working part-time jobs throughout the whole year, not just in the summer at 17. And I did not save. And I would say that was a big mistake for me as well. So thank you so much for your time. I know there was a question in the chat, if there's any way that students can connect with you, if there's contact information. I think Taja also asked about any possibilities of connecting and speaking with you on a one-on-one basis.
Yeah, I am happy to offer anyone on this call a consultation. If you are working, have that income, you want to talk about planning, saving, investing for the future, that's my email that I just put in the chat. Feel free to shoot me one and I'm happy to chat. Okay.
All right. Be bold, be unafraid, you all. Definitely use the contacts. So I think that is it for my time. And I'm sure I still ended up going over. I'm sorry, Gabby. And I am passing it over to.
You can pass it to me, Abigail to Gabrielle. Thank you so much, Sydney, for dropping all of those gems and jewels. It makes me, I was over here taking notes as well. So obviously, you all should see that it's not too late to start financial planning, but the sooner you start, the better off you'll be able to set up your goals for your future. We are going to do a little energizer break. Are y'all ready? So this is your time to get a little stretch in, right? Yes. Okay, we got our stretch in. And we're also going to do a raffle because we super appreciate you all being here and keeping the chat popping. So I'm going to share my screen right now. And I have everyone's name in like a generator. I just want y'all to take a quick look at the side to make sure that you see your name. And when I say see your name, I'm talking about the guest. Presenters, we appreciate you for being here. This is not your time to shine yet. All right.
Y'all lucky I love what I do. I want to
Exactly. We got the passion. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think I've been going through the chat over and over again to make sure I got everybody's name. I think I have everyone's name.
I see thumbs up.
Okay, wonderful. All right, y'all. Here's our Energizer chat. I'm just gonna, so y'all know it's random. I have my hands up. All right, Mazabin. Mazabin.
Mazabin,
I
are you
apologize
here?
for butchering your name. Yeah, everyone's still here.
They are here. Yes, they're here. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So, Fran, what you will receive today for our Energizer is a gift card to Dunkin' Donuts, because the world runs on Dunkin', or America runs on Dunkin', as they say. And so we will send that to you via email. Now, don't forget, everyone in the Zoom room will get a gift card at the end of the session, right? This is just like our little Energizer break. This was just some time for us to stretch. And like we said, America runs on Dunkin', so we wanted to just give you all something to say thank you for coming here, and thank you for being so lovely in the chat. I am now going to pass it on over back to Nicole, but thank you all, and we have more gifts coming. Don't leave. Don't leave.
Yes, coffee on you. Thank you so much, Gabby, for that little Energizer. I love when people win things. I feel like I don't really have that luck, so shout out to you for winning that Dunkin' gift card. So now I'm actually going to pass it over to our Director of Alumni Engagement, Pamela Jones. She's just going to introduce our next presenters and panelists for our SAP chat. So I'm just going to pass it over to you.
All right. Hey, everybody. Again, this is amazing. Your questions are so insightful. Our guest presenters are amazing. And I mean, we're getting ready to continue that same awesome conversation. So let me tell you about who we've got coming up next. And that is Dr. Christina Ortiz Harvey. So Dr. Harvey is a first-generation Latina. She's the first person in her family to earn a college degree. She received her BA at Hunter College, right there at CUNY, and then got a master's at Baruch. So, right, this is a CUNY learner through and through. We want to shout out the folks that are attending CUNYs. Recently, she graduated with her doctorate of education and organizational leadership from Grand Canyon University. She is a passionate higher education leader with over 20 years of work experience in financial aid and enrollment management. She's dedicated her career to helping students and their supporters remove financial barriers so that students can gain equitable access to affordable college education. So Dr. Harvey is going to be one of our panelists, and then also Mr. Calvin Harris. So Mr. Harris had an opportunity to work in New York City schools for 5 years and noticed that a lot of his students—
Oh, it's Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah, Calvin Wilson.
Calvin Wilson. I do apologize, Mr. Wilson. So Calvin Wilson, let's run that back and do it right. Mr. Calvin Wilson was working in New York City public schools for 5 years when he realized that his students were having a hard time navigating the college world. So he started working in college access as a program advisor for City Tech, but has also been a community higher education consultant. We're really excited because he works at BMCC in the ASAP program as an academic advisor. There, he helps students graduate in a timely manner while providing them with tools to be successful at the senior college level and also in the workforce. He believes that education opens many doors, which is why he makes space and time to mentor and consult with community programs in various high schools in his spare time. So again, I told y'all the dopeness continues. What we have coming up now is a SAP chat. SAP stands for Satisfactory Academic Progress. And in a second, we're going to get into that. Dr. Harvey, I think you're going to kick us off with a little bit of information. Then you'll pass it back to me and I'll pose some questions to the two of you. Thank you so much.
Thank Thank you, Pamela, and thank you everyone for having me. I'm so excited. As I've shared with Nicole and others, I can talk about financial aid all day, every day. So let me just go ahead and try to share my screen. Hopefully I can get this right. Bear with me. Let's bring this right there and then do this. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
perfect. Okay. So, so the first thing I really wanted to touch base. I appreciate all the presenters. There's so many similar things that I can share. I myself, as I mentioned, or was mentioned earlier, I'm a first gen, figuring it out as I go. And I really kind of designed this piece to really kind of show what are some of the things I really wish I knew about college and when I first started as a freshman. So just very quickly, some very quick reminders. And that is, you know, one of the things that I've seen where some of my students always struggle is kind of remembering that they have to apply for financial aid every single year. I know it's an application. You have to learn new things about the application. I have to learn new things about the application every single year, but it is the best way of finding not just free money, because I'm all about the free first. Any type of federal financial aid programs is through the FAFSA application. New York State has all the TAP grant, Excelsior, Peralta, which now offers undocumented students or students who are not eligible to apply for federal aid due to status to apply now, and the Peralta can now provide full tuition coverage. So now financial aid programs are really growing every single year. They're rolling out a new program for us to administer, and I'm all about advising students to apply, even if you're not even sure if you're qualified. Always apply, because even for scholarships, many scholarships look for those applications to be on file for the college to certify. So I always recommend, if you're not sure, apply anyway. All these applications are absolutely free. And as you've heard earlier from both presenters, one key aspect I wish I had done in college was to budget my refunds. Like many of you, when you get your first refund or you have received and you're like, ooh, you have never seen that many numbers attached to your name before. And it can be very tempting to just go out and immediately start shopping for personal items. But if this presentation hasn't shown you anything, is that all of us share the same idea, which is always make sure that you're budgeting for yourself. You definitely want to treat yourself to things that you would want, but always remember your needs first related to your college expenses, and always save for a little bit of an emergency, because you never know. And then scholarships, as I mentioned, some scholarship organizations do require to have the FAFSA and state applications on file. One key here would be remembering that when you're applying for so many scholarships, the essays represent you. So make sure you're sharing information about yourself. That's one of the areas that I find when I'm sitting with my students where we kind of struggle. It's always kind of like, I want to be an IT major. Well, why do you want to be an IT major? How is that, you know, how does that impact you? How does that impact your family, your community, the world, really, and society? Always make sure that basically you're going out there and you're selling yourself. This is why you should give me your money, basically. Just put it in writing. And then one tip, if I can ever share, I know you're going to get tons of emails and from your college, from your advisors, from everyone. And I know it's a lot to go through, but I cannot stress enough how important it is to check your, you know, your personal email, your college email, particularly daily. I have shared with my students all the time. I am literally chasing students to apply for scholarships that we may have at my college. And, you know, it's so difficult. I know it's an extra step, but trust me, you will reap the benefits once all those scholarship monies start coming in. And then next is student loans. So as you've heard, we've all kind of talked, we know that student debt is an issue and that it definitely has an immediate impact. But one thing I've always shared with my students and parents that for myself, from my experience, I made tons of bad mistakes when I first started my college career because I just lacked information. I had no idea where to start, and I was just kind of signing my life away. And so I became a professional. I started to really do the research and just not be embarrassed. I just stopped anyone in the financial aid office. Explain this, and explain that. I need to know what these things mean. And student loans is not something you should necessarily be scared of. There is definitely ways that you can use student loans to your benefit. Just like Asher mentioned earlier, if you're really strategic with your student loans, you can definitely use them to pay towards your college expenses, room, board, all that type of expenses that you may incur as a college student, but you always want to be informed. So the difference between federal student loans is that they are guaranteed through the federal government. So they're funded through the Department of Education. So that means that because they're federal student loans, the interest rates are fixed at the time of disbursement. Interest rates are much lower for federal student loans than they are for private loans. So private alternative loans are loans that come directly through a bank. It's not to say that they're necessarily bad, but they may cost you more in the long run. One huge benefit that I find with federal loans is the fact that they have so many different repayment plan options. They have one in particular, which is the income-based repayment. So they've built so many programs and supports behind the federal student loan programs to really prevent students from having to default on their loans, which is the worst thing that you can do, which is really not make any payments. But they even have options where if you are having financial difficulty, they could postpone payments. They can work with you to really navigate that process and lower your monthly payments. One trick that I've always shared with my students when they apply for federal loans, if they've exhausted all their scholarships and grants, is to kind of treat it like a payment plan in your head. If you're working part-time, there's nothing that hurts you to putting $25 down on that loan, $20 every time you get paid. You're just lowering the amount of debt by the time you graduate. And if you happen to have paid off your loans while you're in school, guess what? There's no prepayment penalties. So whatever you borrowed up to that point, you've paid it off while you're still in school, then it's gone. You don't have it by the time you graduate. And these are some of like the tricks that I kind of always talk with my parents and my students to kind of give them some ideas about how to really maximize student loans to the best of their ability. And then next, we're going to talk about SAP. And please let me know if anybody has any questions or need me to slow down. I'll be happy to. And this, myself and Calvin will definitely share some important information regarding satisfactory academic progress and then the types of campus supports and absolutely the importance of academic advisement. So first thing is defining what satisfactory academic progress means. This was established as a program to basically kind of manage how federal aid is being used. New York State financial aid programs also have like a SAP requirement. So what does this mean? Basically, whenever I'm talking about financial aid and applying for financial aid, yes, the Pell Grant is free, the TAP Grant is free, and the Excelsior and all this great funding that you can get from the federal and state, yes, they're free, but I always use that little as a caveat. You know that little asterisk you see near things? It's kind of free, right? Because really the Department of Education, the first thing they're doing is that they're investing in you as a student. And because they're investing in you, they want to see a return in their investment, right? They want to see, okay, in order to maintain your eligibility for federal financial aid, that's your Pell, that's your SCOG, your federal direct loans and work study. Those are all federal financial aid programs. In order to maintain your eligibility, you have to meet satisfactory academic progress. And part of that is understanding now that your grades have an impact on your financial aid eligibility. So your academic performance. This is not something that's unfortunately very typically spoken about right on the upfront. It's normally when students have gone through a SAP review and then suddenly find out, oops, you can no longer receive that $3,000 grant that you just received every semester. And all of a sudden you have zero financial aid eligibility. And part of the SAP policy is they're measuring three important components. That's GPA. That means that for every class that you registered for means that you're attempting that class. You're attempting to pass that particular course. But for all the courses cumulative that you're attempting, they're expecting a certain GPA at the end of the year or at the end of the term, depending on the college. Colleges will either have a term-based SAP, what that means they'll check your SAP status either term to term or at the end of the academic year. And what they're basically looking at is, did you meet the GPA requirements based on the number of credits you've attempted to pass? Are you attempting more than 150% of the required credits for your program? That means that if you're going for your undergraduate degree and your bachelor's, for example, most bachelor programs are about 120 credits to graduate. So if you're attempting to earn those credits as a full-time student for 4 years, basically they allow you to attempt an additional 60, because we understand that sometimes you may start in one major, or you may start taking your courses and realize, oh, maybe I was not ready for my courses, or maybe that first semester I really did not do so well, and maybe I didn't pass all my classes. So they do give you a little bit more of a time frame to kind of catch up, understanding that students may need that in order to graduate with their undergraduate degree. But they've capped it, right? You cannot exceed 180 credits after that if you're attending a college where it requires 120 credits to graduate. And then finally, they're also wanting to make sure that for the amount of classes that you're attempting, that you're always passing a certain percentage. And that is usually around 67%. So if you're taking 4 classes, kind of rough that out, you want to pass at least 3 out of the 4 every single semester. You want to keep yourself maintaining your eligibility. So these are the 3 components to SAP and what they measure to make sure that you can maintain your eligibility. Now, if at any point in time you do lose your eligibility, just know that does not mean that the door is closed, the window is closed, that you have no options. Please don't think that the financial aid office will always provide students the ability to appeal, because one of the caveats to the SAP appeal is understanding that life happens. You might have had to withdraw, you might have had to step away from college because life happened. Someone got sick, you got sick. Or you just needed to work full time because you have other responsibilities. There's so many things that can kind of become a hiccup or kind of a little bump in the road that you might have had to step away, and maybe you just didn't do your best that semester. That appeal can definitely give you an opportunity to regain your eligibility. So there's always an opportunity. The main thing, and I cannot stress this enough, is that if you have any questions regarding SAP, regarding your eligibility for any of your financial aid, is always to speak to a financial aid advisor. I know those lines can be scary. I remember them as a student, standing for a good hour, around the corner, all, just incredible back in the day at Hunter. And be patient, but definitely don't walk away from it. Like, fight for what you need and advocate for yourself, because I had to learn that the hard way. I too, at some point in my life, had to submit a SAP appeal because I too wasn't sure what I was doing. And I had so many things going on at the time that I had to go and ask for help. And honestly, I didn't leave until somebody gave me the answers I needed. I was very polite about it, but I had to advocate for myself. So I always enjoy presenting this information as early as possible for students, so that when you start, or you're coming back, or you're in the midst and just started your college career, always remember that grades have an impact to your financial aid eligibility. And with that, I'll pass it over to the great Calvin.
How you doing? Y'all can hear me? I'm using a weird headset. I don't know how it sounds.
Oh, you sound
That
good.
sound cool? Okay. It's funny because today, literally, that was what I was dealing with in the office. A lot of SAP. Because you know what happens? I'm not gonna lie, it does seem kind of scary, because if you do fall below a 2.0, if you don't meet SAP, you will end up on academic probation. And I think people are so worried about the word probation, they're thinking, I'm locked up, they won't let me out. No, I always tell students probation is a good point in time to take a second and think to yourself, okay, what could I have done better? Am I in a good position right now to really effectively and really put my full effort into school? Because reality is life happens. Some people, I have students who are working full time. I started working, I don't remember, the pandemic happened out of nowhere. So life happens. And the school understands that. So normally when you end up on probation, you will meet with an advisor. And that advisor will help you really fill out this appeal, but not even fill out the appeal first, make a plan. Because the reality is a lot of schools have what's called grade forgiveness. Like, let's say you end up getting 2 Fs. If you take that class over the next semester and you get 2 Bs, the F calculation will be removed. It'll be on your transcript, but the calculation won't be there, and your GPA can go up above a 2. But and once again, the big thing is communication. I have some students who will be quiet as a mouse, and then come the end of the semester, I see 5 Fs. Matter of fact, I don't even see Fs. I see WUs. So you will learn there's a bunch of different letters. You get, like withdrawals. You have WN, WU, WD, WA, and each of them means something different, and each of them can affect you in a different way. WN is if you didn't start, if you never had attendance the first weeks of class. Because if you get a WN, they'll see. Wait a second, we gave financial aid. We gave you financial aid. You didn't even show up to class. So sometimes financial aid will be like, we're not paying for that class. And now here you have a bill. But if you speak to your advisor initially and say, hey, this is happening, life is happening. I had a student that ended up having to move to New Jersey. And, he couldn't go to his morning class because it was such a crazy commute. But once again, having those communications. Another thing I will always say too is join a special program. If you qualify for a program like BMCC, we have BLA, we have ASAP, we have College Discovery, there's so many different programs where you can get advisement. Because I'm not gonna lie, even BMCC, we're like 20,000 students, so you can still be at the community college level, be a small fish in a big pond. But if you join any other programs, that will make that world a little bit smaller. You'll have the individualized attention. But at the same time, even if you don't, you need to make things happen. Pull up to the school, go into that Zoom, find out who you need to talk to. Because it's funny, we had a nice meeting this morning talking about things, and people think Google, you can Google it. Google your way out of SAP. No, meet with a person in real life to figure out what you can do. We're all professionals. To get most jobs in higher ed, we literally have to go through 3 interviews. I tell students, I went through a lot of work to get this job. Meet with me, talk to me, converse. Let's get this. Big shout out to Gabby Lloyd, one of BMCC's finest. Big shout out. And
Hey.
and kind of like they said before, even on here, like you'd be surprised at different deadlines. Because once again, I tell students all the time, if you withdrew from your class within the first 3 weeks, you may get charged money. If you withdraw like after midterms, they may not. But you need to talk to somebody to find out these different dates. So the schools have thought about everything. People don't understand the last thing the school wants is for people to fail, for people to have all these bills. We don't want that. We want completion. Schools want completion. They want people to thrive. Um, I always joke, people, you get financial aid because the city realizes if I invest $20,000 into your education, you're gonna come out with a job making 50K, paying taxes for the next 30 years. So they're invested in you. But also you have to invest in yourself. Always say ROI, return on investment. If you're doing the bare minimum, you will get the bare minimum. And also as an academic advisor, my goal is to let you know, depending on your major, there's certain classes you can and cannot take. If I tell people all the time, college, it seems cool when you're watching a TV show and a person's taking basket weaving 101. In the real world, no. You're a psych major, here are the classes you need. If you take classes that are not part of your curriculum, not part of your degree map, they will be considered fall through and you will not get financial aid for that class. Also, BMCC ASAP is we're recruiting. So if anybody is going to BMCC and is looking to join, I can always send you the information. I'll put my stuff in there. But you know, really be honest with yourself also. It's really hard to figure out after college, after high school. You're 17, 18, entering college, and somebody's saying to you, what's the career you want to do from now until you're 63? That's going to change over time. I tell people all the time, if you don't know what you want to do, it's okay to be liberal arts major. Liberal art major, especially my family, they're from the Caribbean. So sometimes they're like, oh no, you're not going to be a liberal arts major. But there's so many benefits to it because you can try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, without having to really feel the effect on your financial aid. And then you never know. After doing 2 years of liberal arts, maybe you took 3 psychology classes and you feel ready. But once again, meeting with an academic advisor will help you through that. One of my biggest mistakes in college was I did not go to see my academic advisor. I went to Stony Brook. Stony Brook was, you guys have some questions we want to ask you. Okay. So last thing I'll say, literally, I would wait online. I went to Stony Brook University, one of the best schools on the planet. And I remember having to wait like almost a month to meet with an advisor. And I'm like, no, I will not meet with an advisor. I'm going to drop these classes. And then when I wanted to graduate on time, I realized I needed 7 classes to graduate. And I'm like, damn, I don't know if that's a bad word. I'm like, man, I should have really waited. I should have been patient. But yes, make use of every single resource on the campus. Long story short.
All right. Okay, thank you both for just that amazing content and insight. I have a question to kick us off, and then I want our students to also ask any questions that might be on their mind. So interestingly enough, like through our dialogue, you all have been kind of like hitting on some of the questions that we wanted to sort of elevate for students. But one thing that I want to sort of like draw out of it and just make it even more clear. What should students do, like step by step, if they have experienced an academic setback, right? So like this is good information that we're talking about now, but what am I supposed to do if I'm already like in a SAT challenge right now? Or if my GPA is like not as high as I want it to be right now? What are maybe 2 or 3 things that you think that I should sort of do to kind of get myself back on track academically? And I will pose that to both of you.
You can go first.
Well, I was going to say the first thing I would do is talk to your academic advisor. That'd be the first step, because I mean, I'm always referring my students. Step 1, go to your academic advisor, figure out if you're interested in whatever that major requirement is, what the classes are. And I'm sure Calvin is going to give you a lot more information. And then the second step would be to come talk to financial aid. Let's talk about how those academics, because remember, once you get to college, it's not free. So we're always trying to keep that free money going, for whether it's a community college or 4 years. Come speak to your financial aid advisor, because then now we can start looking at your particular financial aid. And now we're going to start looking at, okay, wait, you have federal grants. The SAP requirements require GPA. If this is your first payment, second payment, if you attempted 24 credits versus 60 credits, there's so many working pieces because the regulation is very strict with it. But we can break it down to you to say, okay, listen, maybe the first semester was a little rough, but you're still okay. If you bring it up, if you bring up your grades, if you bring up your GPA, if you take certain classes that your academic advisor is advising you to take, stay on track with your academic advisor, then that will immediately impact increasing your chances to keeping your financial aid eligibility. And then we also do the same thing with the state aid, because TAP, Excelsior, all those programs have their own requirements. So we literally sit there and break it down for each program just to make sure, like, nope, this is what you need to do to make sure we're going to keep that money coming. And then academic advising.
I'm gonna try to make this 2 minutes. So once again, meet with your advisor. One secret thing I don't think a lot of students understand is you can talk to your professors sometimes. Like, let's say you have a course where you did your best. Maybe you were missing one project. You would be surprised. I have students who will contact a professor. Hey, listen, is there any way I can make up any work or get extra credit? Professors sometimes, believe it or not, will give you the opportunity to make up missing work. Because a lot of times a difference can be an F or a C. That C may get you off probation. But I think, to me, the biggest thing is to meet with an advisor, make a plan, but make a realistic plan. If you are working 123 hours a week and you're like, man, I cannot come to school because I work so much. If you're not going to change your work schedule or find better time management skills, it's not going to work for you. I tell students all the time, if you have to work, look into becoming part-time. They're giving part-time financial aid now.
Yes.
Do what's best for you, because at the end of the day, you're the one that's doing this. And at the same time, also, don't, be down, be sad, but get over it. I have students who will be embarrassed. Oh my God, at the end of the world. For the moment, yes. Keep it going. Persistence. I saw what's put in the chat. Persistence is key. Um, it depends. Like, you never know. Like, math may be your challenge, but if your goal is bigger than math, you're gonna find a way to make it happen. If it means digging deeper, studying more, spending less time doing other, like working and other stuff, find a way to make it work, and then we'll figure it out. And definitely make sure you don't. Last thing I would say, big issue. We spoke about emails. I have students who will completely ignore every email that's come from the school telling them you're on probation. Here's the form. Deadline is February 3rd, and here they come February 22nd. And guess what? Once the deadline's passed, the deadline's passed. So read your emails, send your emails, download that Outlook app for your phone, and be on it.
I can't stress that one enough. I'm literally chasing down students to give away money. And it's a real thing. I'm not exaggerating. So emails are key.
Thank you both so much for talking about that, right? Even on our end, as the team that works with alumni, we can't say how much we have to emphasize to students. You must check your email, right? Like in Life with Friends, text messaging might be the means of communication, right? So just like you wouldn't imagine, like, why would I call my friend? We do text. That's the way we communicate. Email is the method, the mode of communication in college. You can't say, oh, I didn't know, I didn't realize if you didn't read the email, right? That's the currency that's being passed for colleges and universities. We are coming short on time. I want to make sure that if the students have any questions, they have a chance to ask them. So students, this is your moment. In the chat, you can come off mute. Okay. I'm not sure that we have any questions, so I will pose this last one to each of you, and I want you to tell me in a tweet, 2 tweets, each of you. Tell me about an academic habit that you had in college that you wished, right? Knowing what you know now, you're like, yo, I should have changed that then. And something also, though, that you were really proud of, right? 2 academic habits. Going back for you, when you were a college student, what was something that you're like, yeah, that was a good academic habit of mine, and another one that's like, I should have been doing that differently. 2 tweets though, gotta go fast.
Okay, I'm gonna start backwards. So I was a great writer, great student, but I was so lazy to actually apply for any scholarships. My parents made too much money for financial aid, so I have, as you know, debt, good debt. But I wish I would have actually took my time to really write those college essays for scholarships, because a lot of scholarships are out there because people don't apply, and if you apply, you may just get one. One of the really good habits I have is I speak to my professors. Literally, every single class I had, I'm open enough to talk to my professors. Am I doing good? Am I doing bad? You'll have a system where you can actually see your grades live, but some professors don't update it. It's better to actually talk to that professor that way, because they may have other opportunities available for you that you won't know about. Research opportunities. I use one for a grad school application. I use one for a job application. So maintain communication with the people at your school and be a proud alumni member.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson. All right, Dr. Harvey, 2 tweets.
Um,
Something you were doing good and something you're like, I should have
ooh, let's see. Procrastination. Lord, don't let that be your best friend. I'm a huge procrastinator when it came to school. I was that last minute, even though I got the A, but I was sweating at the 11th hour trying to get that paper in. Please don't do that to yourself. That just creates more stress. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't wait till last minute if you're struggling. As Calvin said, talk to your faculty member, because I've heard from earlier about networking and things like that. That's one regret I have, is not being able to network. I was so shy. I was so afraid of speaking up and being heard. I hid, and that's definitely a regret. Don't do that. They have amazing opportunities. Something good was understanding what kind of student I was. I think I learned that in my doctorate program, is really understanding that, one, I am a natural procrastinator. It's just in my blood, but I had to teach myself skills. So it's setting alarm clocks, using my calendar. That became my lifeline for everything. And then just to-do lists, aspirations on your wall. My wall, if you could see it, is my kids' drawings. I got inspirational quotes. I'm telling myself I am great every day. And that's what gets me through.
Amazing. Nicole, there is one question from a student in the chat. Do we have time to tackle it real fast?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was going to ask Cheyenne to do the honors if she wants to.
Oh, yes.
Yes, I'll read out the question. So this question is from Shania, and she said, what helped you gain clarity about the direction you wanted to go career-wise when you were in college?
You want? Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'll go first. I started off as a work study student. So through the FAFSA, I became eligible to participate in the federal work study program. And honestly, that's exactly how I started my career. I may not have known what I wanted to do as an undergraduate student, but I just kind of continued working. And as a work study student, I just took that opportunity to learn. That was my very first real job, as I say, in an office and, at an organization. And I just took it as a real job experience. I went in there, I did the job, I asked questions, I wanted to learn more and more and more. And then those skills transferred to them hire me as a part-timer and then right on to a full-time. And honestly, I've never left. It all started at Hunter for that.
Man, so my major changed a lot of times. I say 3 times the first 2 years. Got to grad school, think I knew what I wanted to do. Social work, school of social work, great. Did an internship at a high school, and that's where I realized I need to work in high school. I want to work as a social worker though. I got a job as a high school counselor, and I started realizing how valuable college was. And we didn't have anybody that was experienced in college planning. So I took on that role, and I realized how important that was. And I haven't looked back since then. Love this. I absolutely love this. And even things like this, working with students right now, working with y'all, is keeping me, from regretting anything. Life has a fancy way of kind of coming together and revealing everything that you need.
Shout out to the
Okay,
people who changed their major multiple times.
Mhm.
it's all good. It is all good. Well, again, I just want to say thank you to you both for that amazing insight and sharing those words of wisdom with us. We appreciate it. Who am I kicking it off to, team? Gabby or Nicole?
You can kick it off to Gabby.
Okay.
All right. Yes. I just want to give another round of applause for all of our amazing expert, because y'all can tell that they know exactly what they're talking about. Our expert panelists. Thank you so much. I just want to open up this space for any kind of last minute questions that you all may have, any sort of like burning questions like, oh, I didn't want to ask it, but here's your chance. You can put it in the chat. I hope y'all feel like this is a safe space for you all to ask questions. This is your time to sound off. Yes. Dr. Ortiz in the chat is letting you know to definitely check out your college website for FAFSA information, SAP information. There's also tons of scholarship and opportunities available for non-US citizens. So please don't think just because if you don't have like a social security card, for instance, there are still opportunities out there for you to receive aid for college as well. So do not limit yourself. Yes.
I just want to do a shout out to Farzana for being transparent and talking about their experience. That was amazing. Thank you so much for just being open enough with this group to share that. And I know that a lot of people probably already learned so much from what you were able to share in the chat. So I just wanted to show my appreciation to you for being brave and to step out and share that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Abigail. Yes, we appreciate y'all. We do have a quick question in the chat from Jamina. What are some of the resources for students like commuting money or a MetroCard? I will pass this over to Calvin, because I feel like he knows the answer to that.
Well, I know for a fact my program, of course, ASAP. That's one of the things we do give out our Metro cards. If you're at the senior college, there's a program called ACE that will provide Metro cards as well. Kind of what we were saying too before about budgeting for with your refunds. If you're getting back, or this is why I get sometimes because students will lose their Metro card. We only give them one Metro card. They'll have, I see on their record, they have a huge refund of $2,500. I'm not counting nobody's coins, but you really couldn't buy that monthly Metro card. You ain't put some money on the side. Because once again, I always tell people this is real life. Oh, this is a simulation of when you get to the workforce. Save your money, be mindful. There's programs too. I think there's like a program with the government where if you make a certain income, they'll give you like a half-year Metro card or a full Metro card. Ask. You can Google, like not Google. I would like Google like student support. Talk to somebody in the office. You'd be surprised. There's so many different offices who work with stuff that may have like a one-time Metro card that you can use. But once again, you never know unless you ask. Oh yes, here
Agreed.
we go. Emergency funding. Yes.
Yes. I was gonna jump in for that too. Like sometimes some colleges they have different names for it. Like at Gutman, we call it the Connect Center, single stop. Like there's actually an office that would also have like food pantry, resources, free supplies for students. Part of their they also have emergency funding, and part of that is Metro cards. Like at Gutman, we actually provide Metro cards to all the students who apply, so they actually get a stipend to help pay for their transportation, whether it's a Metro card or New Jersey Transit and things like that. But we also have a Connect Center, so if there's ever an emergency and you lose a Metro card, you can always apply for one as well.
Absolutely. Yes, utilize your school's resources. All of these resources are part of the package, right? So you're not just paying for classes, you're paying for all of these amazing resources. So some of you all were interested in how to get into certain careers. Your school has a career center. You're interested in how to gain an internship or how to get involved on campus, how to make those connections. There are clubs and different organizations that you can join. So please take advantage of all those resources. Like we said, tap into that network that you get at your college. If your college does not have, we'll look onto the Hunter. You know what you should try for Hunter, Jamina? The SEEK program, if you're available for that, if you're eligible, I'm sorry. SEEK program.
Hi, I'm actually talking. I rather talk than type. So I went to the SEEK office and I was like asking about if I can join, but they were like, you had to do it when you applied for the Hunter College through like the application, because there's this like mandatory summer program that you have to do in order to be part of SEEK program. So I tried, but yeah.
I would maybe stop by and see if you are eligible for maybe any scholarships through Hunter. Because now, since you've been there for a while, now I'm assuming you have like a GPA at this point. There are different things that you can apply for there. Maybe.
And also talking to a financial aid advisor, because sometimes there's additional funding available that we may be able to provide to be able to give you a little bit of a refund. Sometimes, like, for example, we have a little extra SEOG, we may be able to give that grant. It's very limited though. And if they don't have it, a lot of times financially partners with like the single stop or the Connect Center, whatever your college particularly calls it, or even within student affairs to say, hey, I have a student who's in crisis and need. What do we have? Like I'm big for that. My college gets tired of me because I'm always asking people for money, and I'm totally okay with that. Like just to try to help assist students. So just ask, like, don't give up.
Yes, everyone. Well, we thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please continue the conversation in the chat. We're dropping some great resources if you were ever in foster care or needed some additional services. That way we have different foster care initiatives. We do have, does it not go? Just a few announcements. Like we said, for our CBI alum and 12 alum in the room, we have a program called Bridge Through College that is open for students at particular CUNY colleges. So those CUNY colleges we have 4 community colleges that we work with. That is BMCC, the Borough Manhattan Community College, Bronx Community College, Gutman Community College, shout out to Dr. Ortiz, and we're also working with LaGuardia Community College. So if you attend any of one of those schools, let me know, you may be able to join. And then we also are working with 4 senior colleges, and those senior colleges are the City College of New York, so CCNY. We're working with Hunter College, we're working with John Jay, and we're working with Lehman College. So basically just extra support. Like Cheyenne stated, she's one of the peer leaders for that program. It's a text-based program and works around your schedule. We have a plethora of partnerships, and one partnership that we have that we're really proud of is Braven. Nicole, do you want to speak a little bit more about this?
Sure, I'll speak a little bit more about Braven. Braven is one of our partner organizations. So basically what Braven does is they provide a 3-credit course at either Lehman or City College. So if you attend any of those schools, this course is designed to essentially prepare you to become leaders in the workplace. So prepares you to essentially get a a strong job. So they provide you with leadership opportunities such as project management, networking, gaining some employability skills, teamwork. So this course is essentially ideal for sophomores and juniors. So if you're in the sophomore and junior range, this will be a really great opportunity to kind of gain those post-secondary skills so that you can get a good job after you graduate. So they are currently accepting applications, and the way you can enroll in Braven is through CUNY First for the spring 2023 academic semester. So you just go into CUNY First, or we can walk you through that process by if you just want to meet with us one-on-one to kind of go through that. So yeah, spring 2023 is open, and this is a great opportunity if you want to get a strong first job once you graduate from college. And then we also have our SLNet Connect. This is our private networking site, which we post exclusive job listings and professional development opportunities. What I'm actually going to do is drop the link in the chat. You guys can create accounts in there so that you can join. I'm sorry, but it looks like, thank you, Gabby. Yes, because my link was very long. And someone has a question. Does Hunter have anything similar to Braven? I'm not exactly 100% sure if Hunter has anything similar to Braven. I'm sure they do because they have a lot of resources, but I can check on that and definitely get back to you. But yes, Braven is for careers, essentially helping you gain or get a career once you graduate college. So you can enroll, you can go through CUNY First to enroll in Braven. It should be listed up there. Oh, yes. I think Ms. Jones wants to answer that. Braven has an online program.
They do. So Braven has two models. They have a model where they're based at specific campuses, right? So for now, at least in CUNY, they're based at City College, based at Lehman, but they also have an online component that pretty much does the same thing, and it's open to students that go anywhere. So you can definitely look into Braven. You just want to search for Braven online, not the Braven Accelerator at those two specific campuses. And I think Mina Hall had a question about that as well. Braven is for students that are pursuing bachelor's degrees, right? So it's not for someone that's interested in like a tech program or a trade program, associate's degrees, et cetera. They're looking for folks that are in four-year schools pursuing bachelor's.
Yes, we are definitely going to have to save this chat and share all these resources, which we will do. You get all these resources via email. And then we also have our alumni referral form. So if you need any supports, we have an alumni referral form. We're happy to work with you one-on-one just to meet your post-secondary goals. So we assist with college enrollment, the financial aid process, transfer applications, if you need your resume reviewed, if you want to register for classes, and so much more. So I will also put that link in the chat. So if you need any support, the alumni engagement team is here to support you with that process as well. Sorry, my links are a little long, but you'll be able to fill out that application for alumni support. But nonetheless, we have come to the conclusion of our Future Success Symposium. Shout out to all of you guys for staying with us throughout this event. Thank you so much for your participation, all your wonderful questions. And I want to thank the panelists and the presenters for all your expertise in sharing all those gems. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to be with us here today. We really appreciate you all very, very, very much. And last but not least, we have one more Energizer raffle for you guys, and I'm gonna pass it off to Gabby to our raffle.
Yes. We have one more Energizer raffle, like Nicole let us know. So we have our names. Let's give us one more spin of the wheel. Woo. And round it goes. And it looks like it's gonna stop on Farzana. I hope I'm saying your name correctly.
Farzana, yay.
I hope you are excited. Like we said before, America runs on Dunkin', and now you will too. You will be taking home a $25 gift card to Dunkin'. donuts. But everyone who is in this room right now, thank you all so much for coming. We have not forgot about you. And as a thank you for everyone in the room, what I need you all to do right now, just so I can know you all are awake, put your name in the chat, and you get to choose one of these gift cards that will be emailed to you. So you can choose Target, Uber Eats, I don't know why I was going to say Urban, Uber Eats. The cool thing about the Uber Eats gift card, it can also be used for Uber rides. So that's like a little 2-for-1, or an Amazon gift card. So that's kind of like your ticket out the door to say, put your name and put the gift card of your choice.
Mm-hmm.
That will be sent to the email that you registered for the event for, to make sure that you have access to that email. And to our winners, you will receive obviously 2 gift cards. Yeah. So put your name in the chat and then the gift card of your choice.
I see a lot of Amazon.
Hey, secure the bag. Amazon can go for a lot of different things. Yeah.
It's smart too. I hope they got Prime for college students too. Save money.
Yes. Use your student emails, you all. You can get discounts on all these different services like Apple, Spotify. Everything typically has like a student discount that you can get. So please start taking advantage of that.
If I could just make one public service announcement on that, it's called Uni Days. If you don't have the app, get on the app. You have access to everything. And if you are a graduate and you don't have the expiration on your email, you can still use it today, because I do.
I hope I spelled that right. Uni Days. Does this mean I can choose to? Farzana, you get one from Duncan, and then you get one from here.
Oh, good question. What's the address for tomorrow?
Yes. So the address for tomorrow is 322 8th Avenue. I believe that's 26th Street. It's on the corner of 26th Street. So what you can do is just send us a message letting us know that you will be attending, and then we can, based off the attendance, we'll order food. So there will be food, there will be gallery stations, there will be some fun, some discussions. It'll be like an extension of today, but also talking about like careers and dreams. Yes, it is on the 4th floor. So if you can make it, please show up tomorrow. We look forward to seeing all of you. We will be here same time. And yes, 5:30 to 7 p.m. 5:30 to 7 p.m.
And if you can't make it, we understand, but we would love to see everyone. We will have more games, more prizes, more energy. Imagine how much, like, we're fun now on Zoom. You could y'all can hang out with us in person. Okay, so think about that.
Great time.
We'll be there. We will send you all an email in the morning, so that way, like Nicole said, we can know if you have any dietary restrictions. You can let us know if you're coming. But yeah, that's all we have.
Thank you, Shania. She said your energy is lit.
And I would just like to say thank you to the CBI team for coordinating and co-presenting and organizing this. This is an amazing event. So excited to continue this partnership, and just thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Sanders, for your support with this and your collaboration. We do appreciate all the work that went into this. So thank you guys. Shout out to Team SUNY. Yes, we're so excited to partner with you. So this was great. Thank you guys so much for providing all the information that we needed today. And I'm sure this will be an ongoing thing, hopefully.
For sure.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much. We appreciate
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you guys for attending. We'll send you guys some follow-up emails with all those resources.
Thank you again, Nicole, everyone.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Christina
you.
Ortiz.
I hope it went well.
It
That was
did.
amazing.
Yes,
Oh, Dr.
your
Ortiz, I
presentation.
might slide in your chat tomorrow. I have some
Please
chat
do.
questions.
Oh no, please do. As Nicole, listen, I love talking about this stuff. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it for you. Please, I'm very passionate about this. I love this stuff. Please, whatever I
Yes.
can do to help.
You are
Take
amazing.
care,
Thank you so
ladies.
much.
Anytime. Take care.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Take care. You
Thank
too.
you.
And Cheyenne, thank you.
Yes, Cheyenne.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay.
Hey, your first
And,
Future Success Symposium.
You
and
did great.
Cheyenne, I know you were working, but you still will receive a gift card as well because you are a student and you were engaged. So
Yep.
let me know what sort of gift card you want too.
Oh, okay. I'll take Amazon.
Okay. She was
Students
quick.
love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, they have books to buy. They're like, I'm on Amazon.
I dig it.
Thank you, Cheyenne. I'll
Thank
send
you
that.
so
to you.
much, Cheyenne. Really
Yes,
Thank
appreciate
you, Cheyenne. Appreciate you.
Yes, take care,
You
everybody.
too. Have a
Bye.
good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, wait, let me stop the recording.